Imagine if everything we know about time, health, and our deepest natural rhythms has been reshaped, subtly yet profoundly, by the calendar we use. What if a simple change, moving from a 13-month year of equal 28-day cycles to our current 12-month system, has disconnected us from a deeper sense of balance? Especially for women, the shift away from a cycle that once aligned closely with nature might be more significant than we realize. With these words, we're uncovering an ancient, nearly forgotten framework, the 13-month, 28-day calendar. This calendar aligns each month with the moon's phases, creating a year that feels naturally connected to rhythms we've always held within. And within this pattern, some experts suggest, lies a blueprint for wellness, balance, and the unique strengths tied to our biology, especially for women. Let's pause for a moment. We often take our modern calendar for granted. But consider this. Many ancient cultures, from the Mayans to certain early Christian sects, followed a calendar of 13 equal months, rooted in the cycles of the moon. Each month had 28 days, and once the year ended, a final day of rest marked the transition, a day outside the cycle for reflection and renewal. Now, this might sound like a small historical quirk, but consider how that lost alignment, 13 months, each with 28 days, could influence the way women experience health and wellness today. Research has shown that cycles in nature, from the tides to lunar phases, operate with a rhythm, and many scientists believe our biological cycles respond to these rhythms too. Women's health, and especially reproductive health, often mirrors these cycles, and when they're disrupted, there can be profound effects on physical and mental wellness. In the course of this video, we're going to explore how this shift may have altered the natural harmony women once had with their own cycles. We'll investigate how this affects not only health, but possibly limits an inherent strength and alignment. Many women once enjoyed, and could perhaps reclaim. Throughout this journey, we'll lean on scientific research, cultural histories, and the wisdom of experts to rediscover what's been lost. So how exactly would a 13-month calendar work? And why would anyone have thought this was a better way to measure time? Let's break it down. The 13-month calendar isn't just an idea pulled from thin air. It's grounded in the natural rhythms that have governed life on Earth for millions of years. Each month in this system is perfectly aligned with the lunar cycle, spanning 28 days, with a total of 364 days in the year. That leaves one extra day, known historically as the day out of time, dedicated purely to rest, reflection, and renewal. A pause before a new year began. This structure was widely embraced in ancient societies. The Mayans, for example, famously based their calendar on a similar 13-moon cycle, as did many early indigenous cultures. Historians even suggest that some early Christian sects recognized this 13-month structure, and there are records of various ancient civilizations relying on lunar cycles to keep time. But why? What was the advantage? This calendar aligned society with the natural world, creating an order that many felt was deeply harmonious. Each month began with a new moon, grew with the waxing phase, peaked at the full moon, and completed its cycle with the waning moon. People could feel a sense of closure and renewal at each month's end, something we often miss in our 12-month Gregorian calendar, which has months of uneven lengths that don't align with any natural cycles. But here's where it gets really interesting. Scientists have discovered that humans, and especially women, have biological rhythms that closely align with this 28-day cycle. Studies in chronobiology, the study of natural cycles and rhythms within the body, have shown that aligning life with such natural cycles can support physical and mental well-being. Imagine living in a world where every month, our routines, our work, and even our rest days are in harmony with these biological rhythms. It's a powerful concept, especially when we think about how this alignment might support women's health. Of course, our modern calendar won out over time. In the Roman era, Julius Caesar's introduction of the Julian calendar set us on the path to a fixed 12-month year. Eventually, the Gregorian calendar, which we still use today, made this system almost universal. But as our lives adjusted to this new calendar, we drifted from natural cycles. And with it, we may have lost more than just a way of keeping time. Here's something to consider. If society were still structured around a 13-month, 28-day calendar, would we feel more connected to natural rhythms? Could our physical and mental health improve? For women who have monthly cycles that frequently mirror this lunar calendar, it might mean a profound connection to a rhythm that supports both well-being and an intrinsic sense of power. Stay with us, because next, we're going to explore exactly how these ancient rhythms affect women's bodies and why aligning with them might unlock hidden potential. And if you're finding this exploration enlightening, take a moment to consider subscribing to our channel. Here, we dive into unique insights on wellness, history, and reconnecting with our most natural selves. Now let's dig into what science has to say about these natural rhythms, and what it might mean for women's health if we were still living in alignment with a 28-day cycle. For centuries, cultures around the world observed and respected the connection between women's cycles and the phases of the moon. Yet in today's world, this idea can seem almost foreign. However, when we look at the science, there's evidence suggesting that aligning with a 28-day cycle could have far-reaching effects on women's health, from hormone balance to emotional well-being. Studies in chronobiology, specifically research on circadian and infradian rhythms, support the idea that our bodies respond to cycles in nature. While circadian rhythms control daily cycles, infradian rhythms manage cycles that are longer than 24 hours, including the menstrual cycle in women. The average menstrual cycle is roughly 28 days, mirroring the lunar cycle. And some researchers have proposed that this synchronization may be more than a coincidence. Dr. Katharina Wolff, a prominent chronobiologist at Oxford University, has conducted research showing that a lack of synchronization with natural rhythms can lead to a range of health issues, from hormonal imbalances to stress. When women's cycles are disrupted, whether by artificial light, irregular sleep patterns, or even the irregular structure of our modern calendar, their bodies may respond with increased cortisol levels, a stress hormone linked to everything from anxiety to disrupted sleep. Looking to history, we find that traditional societies who lived according to natural cycles often experienced fewer menstrual irregularities and hormone-related issues. For instance, researchers have studied the Hadza people of Tanzania, one of the last hunter-gatherer tribes, and observed that their women experience more regular cycles, often synchronizing with lunar phases. This alignment may stem from the tribe's natural lifestyle, which includes exposure to natural light and alignment with seasonal rhythms. Dr. Wolff suggests that exposure to consistent lunar phases may help stabilize hormonal cycles, even potentially impacting fertility and mood. In modern environments, where we are surrounded by artificial light and have lost track of natural cues, our connection to these rhythms can weaken, leading to irregularities in cycles and mood disorders. Imagine if we could reclaim some of this balance simply by aligning with a 28-day rhythm. How might that change the experience of menstruation, PMS, or even mood fluctuations? With our current calendar, each month has an uneven length. Some months are 30 days, others 31, and February only 28 or 29. This inconsistency can disrupt the subtle connections some women's bodies have to a 28-day rhythm, contributing to a sense of imbalance. While science doesn't suggest that a different calendar would solve all health challenges, studies have shown that women's bodies often thrive with regular, predictable cycles that match natural rhythms. This alignment supports everything from sleep quality to stress levels, and may even influence energy levels. Think of it this way. In a world where women could more easily align their cycles with the calendar, would we see a reduction in stress and other cycle-related symptoms? It's a compelling idea, and one worth exploring further. One fascinating study in 2018 from McGill University explored how light exposure during different phases of the menstrual cycle affects hormone levels and mood in women. They found that women exposed to light patterns mirroring the phases of the moon reported less intense PMS symptoms, more stable energy levels, and an improved sense of well-being. Imagine what reconnecting with these rhythms could mean for women who experience regular symptoms associated with menstrual cycles, symptoms we often accept as simply part of life. So could a return to a 13-month, 28-day system benefit women in ways we've overlooked? As we've seen, both historical examples and modern science point toward the potential for real health impacts. When our lives align with natural rhythms. And remember, we're only just scratching the surface of what this shift could mean. Up next, we'll examine how our disconnect from these rhythms has influenced the way we experience life today. What happens when we drift away from the rhythms that nature intended? For many of us, it's not even a question we think to ask. But for women, that disconnection may go beyond the subtle, potentially disrupting not only health, but a powerful sense of inner strength that was once an integral part of daily life. In our current world, we live by the clock, a construct that regulates everything we do. From school and work schedules to social obligations and deadlines, we're bound to this modern 12-month calendar. But as we've seen, this wasn't always the case. When we examine ancient societies that lived by the lunar 13-month calendar, we find that people, especially women, often reported a greater sense of balance, mental clarity, and physical wellness. For women whose cycles are naturally inclined to align with a 28-day rhythm, this break from natural order can have a profound impact. Consider the concept of circadian misalignment. This term describes what happens when our body's natural rhythms are out of sync with external demands, a situation familiar to anyone who's experienced jet lag. Studies show that women are especially susceptible to circadian misalignment, often experiencing heightened stress, poor sleep, and mood fluctuations when their cycles are disrupted by irregular schedules. One study published in Nature Communications in 2019 revealed that women's sensitivity to irregular light and sleep patterns can lead to higher levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, which in turn disrupts hormonal balance. This disruption can result in fatigue, mood disorders, and even immune dysfunction. In other words, when women's cycles are out of sync with natural rhythms, it doesn't just impact mood, it impacts overall health in ways that science is still uncovering. Imagine if, instead of fighting against these natural rhythms, women had the freedom to align with them. If society were organized around a consistent, predictable 28-day cycle, we might find that women experience not only better health, but a deeper sense of connection with their bodies, a state that ancient societies respected and encouraged. This disconnection from natural rhythms doesn't only affect health, it can also dull certain strengths unique to women. Anthropologists have found that many traditional societies once recognized and celebrated the strength women drew from aligning with natural cycles. For example, indigenous cultures around the world historically viewed women as having a powerful connection to the earth and its cycles, a strength that influenced their roles within communities. In many ancient societies, women's cycles were celebrated as a source of intuition, creativity, and strength. This idea of cyclical power recognized the mental and emotional resilience that arises from a rhythm-based life. But today, with no structural support for these cycles, that strength often goes untapped. Many women feel pressured to ignore or suppress their natural cycles, viewing them as inconveniences rather than assets, which may contribute to higher levels of stress, burnout, and mental fatigue. The irony is that in a world more connected than ever, many of us feel disconnected from the one rhythm that matters most, our own. Women today face unique pressures to maintain consistent performance across every area of life. Often with little room for the fluctuations that come with natural cycles. Imagine a different reality, one in which cycles aren't just acknowledged but integrated into the way we work, rest, and interact. It's a perspective that invites us to honor a deeper, more powerful rhythm. What would happen if we could reclaim this connection? Experts like Dr. Alexandra Solomon, a psychologist specializing in women's wellness, argue that reconnecting with natural cycles might allow women to unlock an innate resilience, patience, and creativity. We've been conditioned to see cycles as weaknesses, Dr. Solomon notes, when in fact, they can be a profound source of strength. Consider this. We already know the value of adjusting for natural rhythms in many aspects of life. We adjust our diets according to seasons. We respond to sunrise and sunset, yet we largely ignore this cycle for women. What could be possible if we chose instead to embrace it, structuring our routines, our work, and even our rest around these natural rhythms? In the next section, we'll take a look at how aligning with a 28-day cycle could support physical and emotional wellness, drawing insights from health experts who believe this change could be as beneficial as it is ancient. It's through awareness and understanding that we start to see the possibilities. Throughout history, countless women have experienced a greater sense of wellness, calm, and clarity by simply living in sync with natural cycles. Now, science is beginning to back up what those ancient societies already knew, that when we respect and support the natural rhythms of the body, we're likely to feel healthier, more resilient, and more in tune with ourselves. And here's the good news. You don't have to wait for the world to change its calendar to start making small adjustments that honor these cycles. Begin with a few simple steps. Consider using the phases of the moon as a reminder to pause and reflect. On a full moon, try practicing some self-care or journaling. During the new moon, set intentions or focus on restorative activities. Over time, these small shifts can foster a deeper sense of balance and well-being, regardless of what the calendar says. So, if aligning with a 28-day cycle could benefit our health and well-being, what specific changes might we see? Let's look at how experts believe reconnecting with these rhythms could support women's wellness. The potential benefits of living in harmony with natural cycles go beyond a feeling of balance. Studies have shown that such alignment can have measurable effects on hormone levels, emotional stability, and even immune function. While science is still catching up to this ancient wisdom, experts in wellness and women's health are exploring how the benefits of a rhythm-based lifestyle could become part of a modern approach to health. One area where experts are particularly optimistic is hormonal health. Dr. Elisa Vitti, a specialist in women's hormones and the author of In the FLO, advocates for what she calls cycle syncing, a lifestyle that aligns diet, exercise, and even work tasks with each phase of a woman's menstrual cycle. Her research suggests that respecting these natural rhythms can lead to more balanced hormone levels, reduced PMS symptoms, and a smoother, more positive emotional experience throughout the month. She explains that each phase of the cycle brings unique strengths, from heightened creativity to greater resilience. And by embracing these phases rather than resisting them, women may experience a greater sense of fulfillment and well-being. This approach reflects what many women already experience on an intuitive level, that our physical and emotional states aren't consistent every day. Some days we feel more energetic, others more introspective. Dr. Vitti's work emphasizes that these fluctuations are not weaknesses. They are part of a biological rhythm that, when respected, can actually enhance well-being and productivity. Beyond hormones, recent studies have highlighted how aligning with natural cycles may also benefit the immune system. Researchers at the University of California, Berkeley, have examined how disrupted sleep and irregular routines, common side effects of modern life, can weaken immune function, especially in women. By creating a routine that mirrors the predictability of a 28-day cycle, we might support the body's ability to regulate immune response, helping to protect against everything from the common cold to more chronic conditions. Imagine if, instead of pushing against these cycles, we allowed ourselves to slow down during lower energy phases, aligning rest with times when our bodies are more vulnerable to stress. It's a small but powerful adjustment that may allow women to feel more in control of their health even amidst the demands of modern life. This is where a 28-day rhythm can have a true impact. Experts believe that establishing predictable, supportive routines that follow these natural ebbs and flows can boost energy levels, improve mood, and increase resilience to stress. Small changes, like prioritizing rest during low-energy phases or structuring tasks according to when one feels most focused, can provide a surprising degree of balance and satisfaction. While we may not see a return to the 13-month calendar anytime soon, what we can do is make small, intentional changes that align us more closely with these rhythms. According to psychologist Dr. Alexandra Solomon, our connection to natural cycles is something that's waiting for us, an untapped source of resilience and power. Her research suggests that by recognizing and honoring these patterns, women can unlock an inner strength that may have been stifled by the pressures of today's non-stop culture. When we consider all that modern life demands of us, a rhythm-based approach to wellness could be an invaluable tool, allowing women to reclaim a sense of balance that our ancestors likely knew well. Aligning with a 28-day cycle may be a powerful way to enhance well-being, improve health outcomes, and deepen a sense of personal strength. When we look back at the way ancient societies aligned their lives with natural rhythms, it's hard not to wonder, what have we lost along the way? And more importantly, what might we regain? As we've explored, the idea of a 13-month, 28-day calendar is not just a historical curiosity. It represents a worldview that respected and aligned with the natural rhythms that govern life on Earth. In our modern world, where time is measured in productivity and achievement, it's easy to forget that our bodies have their own internal clocks that may thrive on a rhythm lost to history. For women especially, there's a unique potential to rediscover health, balance, and even inner strength by tuning into these natural cycles. Imagine living in a way that honors your body's rhythm, where fluctuations in energy, focus, and emotion are seen not as weaknesses, but as vital aspects of a natural, powerful cycle. There's a kind of freedom in that, a freedom to live in sync with ourselves and our surroundings, just as our ancestors did. So, as you go about your day, think about ways to invite a bit of that natural rhythm back into your life. Small shifts, perhaps pausing during a full moon for reflection, or aligning your activities with your energy levels throughout the month, can bring a surprising sense of balance. After all, wellness isn't just about physical health, it's about feeling connected to something larger, to rhythms that have existed long before us and will continue long after. In rediscovering these rhythms, we might just find a path to a deeper, more intuitive kind of strength. Thank you for joining me on this journey of exploration and reflection. If this video resonated with you, remember that the knowledge of the past can sometimes illuminate the way forward. Embrace it, honor it, and see where it leads you.